Hi everyone, I'm making this video. It isn't a Millenaissance video. I'm actually filming the Millenaissance tomorrow. It isn't a book review video. It's actually just a very sad and tragic day video, and I'm still trying to gather my thoughts on what to think about it. It's about a subject matter that I've discussed on this channel a couple of times, and that is the subject matter of safety, especially public safety. For the past 2 or 3 months, I feel I've become extremely obsessed and extremely paranoid in regards to public safety, right? Mostly safety for myself. I guess I shouldn't say public safety, but personal safety. I've been on the edge. I feel like there's just danger around every corner, and people keep telling me to calm down, but I just can't. So this morning, there was a shooting at a school. Also a disclaimer, excuse the mess in the background. I just want to say this early on. I emptied out my storage 2 days ago, so it's like I have an apartment inside of my apartment. So I'm still cleaning, but right now it's more important than cleaning. I want to share with you this terrible event. So this morning I wake up, I get a text from my college, and it says, hold on. It says, lockdown, alert, shelter in place, follow instructions from authorities. This was at like 8:39 a.m. and I was kind of shocked because now active shooting at a school is something that's come to my mind again. Now, as you know, I graduated college 10 years ago with a bachelor's in English and art. But the difference between that college and this college is I was living on campus. I was on campus for months, not leaving campus because we were in a small town. So active shooting at school was something that was on the forefront of my mind at that time, because I was not only living on campus, I was eating on campus, I was walking on campus, all my activities were on campus. My whole life was there. So yes, that was something that would be on my mind a lot, like just safety, like, oh, I hope this person doesn't go off in the wrong way. So the only other time after school where I actually thought about safety was when I worked for the library. And ironically, the library did not have an intruder active shooter training until maybe my next to last year there. I had already practiced my own active shooter training at the library for a year before they did. And how I did it was I would practice going into different rooms. I would practice finding different hiding places, testing out different things as weapons. Like, can I use this book as a weapon? Can I use this book card as a weapon? Can I use these scissors? Like, all sorts of things. And I would practice. Or I'd be thinking, like, what if the shooter isn't a patron? What if the shooter is one of my coworkers and they have an access key? Where would I hide? Just stuff like that. So after I left the library, I didn't think about it until I just started going to this school, because even though nobody lives on campus, it is still something that should be at the forefront of your mind, especially since people are being extremely amped as of late, and I don't know what is going on with these people, what demons are talking to them. I literally don't know. So at 9:35, I get an update. It says the lockdown has ended. You may return to your activities. First of all, you're not about to tell me there's a lockdown and expect me to go back to my activities. No, I'm leaving. As soon as you say it's time to go, I'm going back home. Ironically, if I had still had the class that I was having last week, I would have been on campus. I would have either been on campus or I would have been walking towards campus. So after this alert, I was like, okay, everything's over. Then somehow, I don't know how I found this out. And I don't know why I don't remember how I found this out, because it happened a few hours ago. I must have blocked it out of my mind. I get this notification from somewhere that there was a school shooting at a high school. And I'm just like, really? I go on YouTube, I'm getting information about the shooting, like what is going on. This high school, let me tell you about this high school. This high school is very popular. They call it visual performing arts, right? So if you're a person that has a creative child, you would send them to this school, or this would be one of the schools you would send them to. They have music, they have art, they have writing. It's just a great place to send a teenager. You want them to express their creativity. I can't remember if this is the only location of the high school. I think there may be two, but I'm not sure. But it's one of those top high schools that people love, like families go there all of the time. And this high school is also close by one of my jobs and also close by where I live. So it's not like something I'm watching on the news and it's happening states away. It's happening right here. I kind of feel the same way about this as I felt about Ferguson, because what happened in Ferguson, I lived in Ferguson. I grew up in Ferguson. The shooting in Ferguson, like the Mike Brown shooting, was literally, if I was on my bicycle, I would have been there in 8 to 10 minutes riding on a bicycle. The Quick Trip that was burned down, I used to go to that Quick Trip. I would walk. It was like a 6-minute walk to that Quick Trip. So it was very close. And this same feeling of how close a tragedy can be to you. This school, if I got on the bus right now, I would be there in 15 minutes. If I was at work at one of the locations, I could walk to this school in 10 or 15 minutes on foot. If I was in the park, it would probably be less than 20 minutes. I could walk through like Tower Grove Park and be at this school. It's on a major, road. Fortunately, and this is the only time I'll say fortunately about this situation. Fortunately, the school is on the same road as the trauma center. If you are riding in an ambulance, you would be in the trauma center or towards the trauma center in under 5 minutes. I know if you're going at full speed, you probably get there in 3 minutes. If you're going at high speeds, that's how close it is. So thankfully the hospital was right there and they got most of the victims down there to like Barnes-Jewish. But anyway, one thing that I noticed, especially the news reports, the news people were like, I can't believe anything like this happened. I mean, this is something you would think about happening in Texas or Colorado or some other place, but not here. See, that is where y'all went wrong. That is where you went wrong. You can do all of the safety procedures that you want, but the number one downfall of public safety is complacency, believing that it won't happen to you when it can happen anywhere. It can happen anywhere. It can happen in a small podunk town. It can happen in a big, rich city. Think about September 11th. September 11th. They couldn't believe a terrorist attack happened the way it did in New York. I mean, yeah, that day was pretty crazy because there was a bunch of stuff happening that day. You had jetliners, you had explosions, you had people jumping. That was just too much for one day. You can only handle bits and pieces, but try not to get too far from the subject. The news people are like, you just hear about it in other places. Me, I have lived in St. Louis my whole life. And one thing I will say, you really don't hear anything about school shootings happen here, because most of the killings, the murders, all of that is usually personal. You don't hear about somebody just going randomly into a place and shooting up. You don't hear about it at a grocery store. The only time I've heard about it was at the Galleria, which is the mall. But even that was personal. That was an argument, and he just happened to shoot him in the mall. If they were outside, it probably would have happened outside. It was personal. Either you're involved in a gang, or you made somebody mad, and now you're killing their relative, or it was usually at the end of the day, it's somehow personal. This school shooting, I don't know if it was personal. I don't know enough information. They're still giving updates. Apparently there's 3 people dead, including the gunman or gunwoman. I don't know if it was a man or a woman. All I know is the gunman was in their 20s. Like, they either said 20-year-old or 20s. Yeah, as I said, you don't really hear about active shooting, random shootings. Most of the shootings here are personal, or they're a robbery, or it was, oops, you were in the wrong place, wrong time, mistaken identity. But rarely do you ever hear to the level of other places. But just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be prepared for it. Am I blaming security? No. Am I blaming the shooter? Yes. Because you can be as prepared as you want to be, and that's still not going to stop somebody that wants to, unalive you. But you can beef up security and use tactics to promote public safety by thinking outside of the box, because most of these crazy shooters are thinking outside of the box. They kept emphasizing in the news story that the school was locked. They don't know how they got into the school. Thankfully, the students were quick thinking. They saved themselves by, a lot of them were talking about they jumped out the window, they broke the window. Thank God you had some quick thinking students and there weren't as many victims as there could have been. Thankfully. I feel really bad for these kids. All they want to do is go to school and be creative, and this idiot goes in there and just starts shooting. But anyway, it said the security tried to work. From what I remember, the security tried their best to stop the shooting. The police came and took out the shooter, so thankfully the police were really fast. But so many things I feel could have been done differently. Yes, the doors were locked. Yes, they had security. But I feel most schools are doing themselves a disservice by the amount of security they have. Usually when you see a school, you might have 1 to 3 to 5 security guards, if you have 5 security guards at the most. Schools nowadays need to be at the level where they have a whole security team, just like they have in government buildings, just like they have at the malls. That is how important this is. It's not just random people or random citizens just going into school. It's school children. It's children. One of the most valuable people in society. Children, the future, the actual future. Who's going to be running this society in the future? You could at least beef up something. We need to protect children just like we protect a government official or a president. Just like one president has 30 security teams or 30 people watching them and bodyguards everywhere, that is the level we have to have for the children. Now, I guess they would say, oh, what about the funding? Okay. There should be some type of thing where you get more funding. I don't know. It's a public school. I guess it gets public funding, but that's just how important this is. It's getting very, very, very bad. That's one of the changes, me personally, I would like to see in schools, from daycares all the way through high school and college, having whole security teams as if you are protecting a president. I don't know how this person got their weapon because they kept saying, emphasizing it was a long gun. I don't know how these people are getting long guns. What do you need a long gun for? Unless you're hunting or something. Why do you need, we're in the city. Like, I don't know how these people getting access to these guns. I don't know. I feel sorry for the security at the school because I don't know how many of them there were, but probably not enough to stop a person with a long gun. Oh my goodness. Complacency. Complacency and thinking that it won't happen to you and your town is only doing a disservice to yourself. You know how many places in this town I've gone where there's barely any security? No security guard, no metal detectors, people just walking in and walking out. One places are the trains and the buses. I don't know how many times I've written to Metro talking about we need more officers on the train. There's been at least 3 people get murdered on the train or the bus. There was a man I knew, and I didn't even know I was sitting next to a killer. This man killed somebody on the bus and he killed somebody at a gas station in a 2-day period. There were times when I was on the train where dudes try to trap me in my seat. I've seen people maced on the bus. People pull out guns on the bus. Like, I haven't seen it, but I've heard of that. But I have seen the macing. Public safety is a joke, at least in this town. We need to take it more seriously. The school, the safety, the schools, I don't even know. Whoever's selling these people these guns needs to be checked. I don't know how they're getting such access to these high power weapons, but that needs to be checked. I don't know if there were signs that something was going to happen, because usually there are signs when something like this is about to happen. Whether it be signs from the place where it happened or signs from somewhere else, because usually these people have some type of record. They have either a record of threats, they have either a record of actually doing something or whatnot, and then they just get a slap on the wrist, slap on the wrist, slap on the wrist. Me personally, what I would like to see in schools would be that that shelter, that gun shelter that I saw in a documentary. And I know this sounds like it's overly paranoid, but this is the point where we're getting to. This is the point we're getting to. It's a shelter. If something happens, if there's an active shooter, you move all the children and the teacher into this shelter, you lock the door. No bullet can penetrate through the shelter. There's a TV and a phone where you can contact the outside world to see what's going on. It's just very, very sad. I feel so sorry for these children. Maybe something in this town will change, because as I said, we're too complacent here. My mother was calling me earlier. She thought I was at work, the job that's close to the school. She called me like 3 times. It's like, are you okay? I'm gonna call your boss, see if he's there. Are you near there? It's, I personally am going to type to my teacher today. I'm going to tell him I'm not going to come to class. Because when you have an energy like this in the air, there's usually copycats. People don't understand how close to danger they can be. They take it as a joke. They take threats as a joke. I don't think it's the school's fault. I don't have enough information. But I'm sure there is somebody out there, somebody, at least one person, that knew what this, whoever this shooter man or woman was capable of, and just kind of brushed it off. Oh, they're not going to do that. Oh, they're not going to do that. Oh, they're just kidding when they're threatening this. We're getting in an age and time where you better take stuff at face value. If somebody says they're going to beat me in the street, like that dude that tried 2-3 months ago, said he was going to beat me in the street, I didn't argue with him. I believed him. I knew he was going to beat me in the street. If somebody says, I'm going to do this to your school, you better believe them and you better shut down that school. We need to start going harder on these people just willy-nilly going on their temper tantrums and in people's lives. All they wanted to do is go to school. All they wanted to do was go to work. So yeah, I'm safe. I'm not a high school student, but I'm safe over here. But I'm not going outside. There's demonic energy in the air. I cancel all of that. I cancel all of that death energy in this Scorpio season. So yeah, everybody just say a prayer for these families and these children. I hope they get the counseling that they need, because this is literally going to affect them for the rest of their lives. PTSD and all. Especially the children that saw people get shot, they're going to need some serious therapy. If I find out there's a fund or something for their therapy, I'm going to make another video and post it so you guys can donate to it or something. If there's anything with a donation, especially if it's like the victim, I'll make sure to make another video so you can send money there, funds there, because, oh my God. So everybody have a very safe day. I will talk to you all later as I finish cleaning this room. So long.